Drawing hair can be a little tricky, especially on characters that usually don't have super detailed hair, but on Bowser Jr. from the Mario movie, he has a lot of different places where we can add that hair texture, like on the paintbrush and like on his hair. In his Mario Wonder form, it gets a little bit longer. So I'm going to be showing you a really simple trick to add some hair detail and hair texture and how to shade that. So it'll really make the hair on your characters pop and feel more detailed. So first for Bowser Jr., what we're going to do is we're going to make this big circle here for the face, and then we're going to do an oval down here for the body. After that, we can make these curves here for the legs and add these little kind of check marks here to do the toes. And then we'll do the same thing for his other leg. We'll make his other leg a little bit more straight, and then we'll make those check marks for the toes. Like that. After that, I'm going to make these 3 curves right here for the snout, or kind of the muzzle area that he has. Then we're going to add these curves here and a little triangle for his bandana, and a curve going around for it covering his mouth. After that, I'm going to make these 2 lines here with a little claw like that, and then a bigger claw here and a little curve like that. This is for his paintbrush. Then we're going to add 2 lines here for his other arm and make a little claw like this, and then another claw like that, another one like that, and then his other one kind of sticking out there. After that, we'll make these little teardrop shapes for his little tie for his bandana, and then I'll make, just kind of refining this circle a little bit for his head, and then we'll make a little square for his hair tie, and we'll draw kind of a big wavy piece of hair, kind of like this, because for his form that's in the Mario Galaxy movie and in Wonder, his hair is a little bit longer. We'll add little snout lines there, and then we'll add his eyes down here. He looks so goober, like that. And then we'll add his eyebrows. So his eyebrows are going to curve up like this, kind of like that. And like that. Then we can do 2 triangles on the side here for his points, or his little spikes, whatever you want to call them. And then we'll do these curves here for his shell, and then shell like that, with some spikes here. After that, I am going to add his paintbrush. So his paintbrush will be like this rectangle here, and we'll make a bigger rectangle like that with these diagonal shapes or lines here, and then we'll make the big kind of paintbrush in this teardrop shape like that. I'm going to make that other side a little bit bigger so you can see it a bit more. And then he needs his little cuffs that have the spikes. And when you're drawing spikes, they'll usually look like triangles like this, But if they're facing the camera, they'll be those circles. So that's why I'm doing them like that. And then I'll draw his other bracelet right here. Now we have to add his little belly patch. So I'm going to add an oval here. And then these lines going across here, like that. After that, we just need to add the zigzag portion of his mouth here. So I'm doing 2 zigzags, and then I'll do 1 in the middle. If you're having trouble with zigzags, think of them as like W shapes. They kind of work like that. Just like here, I did a W, and then just made a line going down. Same thing over here. So, after we have this whole sketch pretty much done, what we're going to go to next is we're going to add, actually, I think we're going to add a couple little lines so he looks a bit more angry. Because he's rescuing his dad. Dude, he is angry about it. So we have him looking like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to practice kind of like a hair-like shading. So to start this, I'm going to grab a brown. It just needs to be a light brown for this base color here. Just like that. Then the way that I shade hair is I then add these curves, kind of mimicking the outer shape here, and then mimicking the outer shape over there. Then I kind of just create a middle one here. That looks very, very uniform. If you've ever seen a paintbrush or hair, you'll know that it's not always going in the same direction. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these random curves to make it look like less uniform. Like there's also a bunch of different layers of hair, kind of like that. And that'll give us our hair technique on the hairbrush. Or not hairbrush, the paintbrush. Oh my goodness. But so after that, I am going to shade it. So when you're shading hair, you want to leave kind of a highlight in the middle. So what I do is I find kind of my end point or my end point over here and starting point, doesn't matter. And I'm just going to shade both of those areas, kind of making a gradient where I'm going darker to lighter as I get towards the middle. So kind of like that there for this point, and then I'm doing the same thing over here. So if you're using markers, you'll just want a slightly darker marker, or you could use the same marker if they're good at layering. So just like that, we have that pretty cool hair texture here. And if your lines get a little bit lost, I like to just reline them. That usually makes them pop out a little bit more, or you could use a darker color. When I get into fully shading this, I might use like a red to make those pop out more. But after that, I'm going to do his hair up here. So I'll do a green, since his hair is green, and I'm just going to do a base color for his hair here. And then after I get that, same thing like we did down here. I'm just going to kind of follow these curves that I already established with the shape. And I'm going to make more kind of like this. Just like that. And then another one in the middle. And we have a pretty good setup of like different layers of hair in there. And then I'm going to do more of my random ones where they're still curves, but they're kind of just going in different directions here. They're not super uniform, but they're making it look like there are a bunch of different layers of hair here in this cluster that we're doing. So you can see there, it looks very wavy. He looks very, very fancy now with his super long hair. And then I'm finding my starting point and my end point, and I'm just going to shade in, kind of forming a gradient from the starting point and then the end point, and we'll get like a nice shine in the middle, kind of sandwich style. Sweet. So now this has a nice shine over here. The only other place that has hair for Bowser Jr. are his eyebrows. We can do a little bit of that technique here. I'll do it for one of them, and then you can try it yourself on the other eyebrow. But I'm just outlining the eyebrow, then I'm kind of making this line going through them, and then adding my random ones to make it look like it's a little bit more hair textured, like that. But sweet! That's how you create a very easy kind of hair shading, hair texture on things that maybe just have like a silhouette, but they don't have specific pieces of hair popping out or usually detailed. But yeah, so I'm gonna color this in, shade it, and if you do this tutorial, make sure to post it on the community. I'd love to see it. Please tag me or tag anyone else that you want to see your amazing work. But I will see you later.